If it exists, there is porn of it. But there's no way you can have a festival around a phallus. There's a lot of pussies.
Oh my gosh. Stop that. Welcome back, everybody.
Dynamite intro, Mrs. Lush, crushing it as always. Join me, and you join me as well, as we explore some unusual customs from all types of cultures around the world.
All right.
All right.
Hit it.
This Brazilian tribe has a painful tradition. They collect bullet ants from the rainforest.
Right out of the gates, I'm just going to say, if you're part of an indigenous tribe in Brazil, you're probably going to have some pretty fucked up customs. I'm just going out on a limb. Let's see what they
Put
do.
the ants in a mix of leaves and water. The mix will make the ants get in an unconscious state of mind. After that, they weave the ants into a glove. The ants are still alive and very angry.
Yep.
The sting of a bullet ant is 3x more painful than that from a wasp.
Yikes.
Then they put the weaved ants into a glove. Then they wear the gloves for 10 minutes. They get stung 120 times while wearing it.
That's got to be
They have
averaged.
to do this 20 times in their life
What?
to prove that
Once a
they
year
are
until-
man. They dance to forget the pain.
The old, ancient passage into manhood rituals.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish we could bring some of those back, because
You do?
there's a lot of pussies in the world right now. I'm just saying. I feel like there's a lot of young men that could use the fucking bullet ant ritual once a year just to remind them what real pain feels like. Not saying that's the appropriate way to do it, but we've just gotten a little soft around the edges. And that's not like a boomer take. I just think in general.
Okay.
Yeah, women too. Give them the bullet ants. But on the flip side of that, that's crazy. But you know what's even crazier? Wearing a fucking fig leaf as clothes and living in the forest for your entire
Oh my
life.
gosh. Stop that.
Well, I'm just saying, I love it. They're probably honestly happier than 95% of America. World's largest food. Oh my
Have
God.
you heard of La Tomatina?
This
It
looks
is the
amazing.
biggest food fight in the world, and it's another bucket list activity that you need to do at least once in your life. So here's a few things that you need to know. Tomatoes are flying in literally every single direction.
Wow.
And
I've
before
heard
the
of this
actual
before.
festival starts, somebody hangs a joint of ham at the top of a pole, and it's everybody's job to try and get it down. However, the pole is
greased up.
covered in lard, and it's just hilarious
Yeah,
to watch
greased
everybody
pole.
fail. And it also seems kind of sexual to me.
Bunch of dudes stroking
That
a pole
seems
together.
sexual to you?
Listen,
Throwing tomatoes and trying to retrieve a ham?
a bunch of dudes stroking a greasy pole. But yes, this woman's mind has been ruined by the internet, as have most of ours. Everything is
Whatever turns you
hypersexualized.
on.
Rule 34, sweetheart. If it exists, there is porn of it.
Oh, okay. So there's
it's
tomato
the-
and ham porn.
Like, for instance, Family Guy, there's porn of Peter and Lois getting freaky with each other. Rule 34. If it exists, someone in the world is twisted enough to sexualize it. That's all there is to it. So it's no surprise
Can you
this
just
woman...
stop ruining my brain?
Honey, that's why I bring you over to this office, is to absolutely sully and corrupt the beautiful innocence that is inside of your head.
By the end, it's literally like the Posada Festival. There is literally
GoPro
tomato soup
shot.
running down the streets. And for
Actually,
the love of all things good and holy, wear goggles, because the acid from the tomatoes does
Yeah.
run into your eyes. Don't even bother trying to take photos until after the festival is done, because you will literally be destroyed like I am right now. They don't use edible tomatoes, so it's not wasting food. And if you enjoyed this bucket list idea, then follow.
Wait, what is inedible tomato? Maybe just like shitty one? Yeah, whatever,
Just
I don't
like
care.
beat
I don't
up
care.
ones?
I'd rather them use edible ones. I love
I
wasting
think it's probably
things.
just hey, we're not wasting food.
Yeah, it's a me. Like, oh, don't get mad at us, modern day society. We're not wasting food, right? Festival of the Steel Phallus. It's a festival that takes place in our bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Interesting things
go.
about Japan you probably didn't know. Kanemata Matsuri, which literally translates to the Festival of the Steel Phallus.
Love it.
The Festival of the Steel Phallus has been held every year since 1969 on the first Sunday of April. The festival was originally put into
Excuse
place
me?
to hold
Wonderful,
prayer for
beautiful helmet.
good fertility, smooth marital relationships, and business prosperity.
Okay.
Since then, it has grown into a large tourist attraction and has helped
course.
gather funds for HIV research.
It looks like a bachelorette party.
A little bit of it, I was going to say. It looks like Broadway Street in Nashville, where I was a
Right?
couple weekends
Vegas.
ago. Just a bunch of broads running around with cats and necklaces. Yeah, I love the idea of a festival to celebrate, fertility and marital
Penises.
prosperity and business prosperity. But but there's no way you can have a festival around a phallus in the modern day and not have it turn into just tourist prospect where people go and drink and laugh. Gurning? Do you have any idea what that means?
No clue, actually.
This is the strange tradition of gurning, a facial contortion competition held in the UK.
What the hell?
Come on.
Gurning originated in the medieval times as a way to mock and ridicule people.
We've definitely
But
seen
over
this
the
man
years,
before.
it has become a competitive sport, with participants competing to see who can make the most grotesque face.
That
The
guy
rules
is
of gurning are simple.
crushing it, dude.
Participants must put their head through a horse collar and contort their face as much as possible without using their hands. The person with the most impressive gurn is declared the winner. Gurning may seem like a silly, pointless activity, but it's actually a beloved tradition in the UK.
Sure it is.
So next time you're feeling down, why not try gurning and see if it puts a smile on your face?
Absolutely not. I'm not
No.
trying that. But that did put a smile on my face to watch people gurning.
Another day in Norway. Another group of babies left out alone in the cold. Look at me go.
Why do Nordic
Wait, for real?
babies sleep outside? Well, it's all thanks to tuberculosis. You see, in the early 20th century,
What?
a tuberculosis epidemic swept through Iceland, and this was exacerbated by poorly ventilated housing, which is great news for Mycobacterium tuberculosis, the bacteria that causes TB, because it spreads person to person through the air. Now, in 1926, an Icelandic physician, Dr. David Thorsteinsson, published a book which advised that people should let their children nap outside in baby strollers to strengthen their immune systems, even in the freezing cold. And this practice went viral about 100 years ago. So this weird public health initiative became a cultural tradition which is passed down generation to generation.
The idea, first of all, of something going viral 100 years ago is hilarious. Oftentimes it started based on a particular reason, and then when the reason for doing that thing goes away, that tradition can carry on. As you can see here, a generation later, and people are still having their babies sleep outside.
I'm not
It's
sure
a
if I believe it.
There are much more unbelievable traditions than that.
Sure.
I absolutely believe that.
No, I'm not sure that I believe that it's still happening that your kids
The
nap
dude just
outside.
showed it. Look at
Oh, because
this.
he showed strollers? I don't see any kids.
Norway.
They're covered
Another
strollers.
group of babies left out alone in the cold. Look at me go.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I believe it. There's definitely way weirder traditions, though. Oh, man.
It's just the stroller parking at Disneyland. It's fine.
KFC Christmas.
KFC is a traditional Christmas meal in
In
Japan.
the early
What?
70s, KFC ran a series of ads called Kentucky for Christmas. The campaign was so successful at capturing country's imagination that Christmas became synonymous with KFC. So if you're not
Wow.
out for date on Christmas Eve in Japan, you are probably at home with your family feasting on buckets of KFC's chicken.
Really?
Also,
That's actually-
it's so popular that people put in their reservation at KFC for pickup months in advance so that they can avoid a very long line. Merry Christmas, everyone!
It's like ordering Chinese food for New Year's Eve around here.
First of all, that's
You have to
amazing.
call
Like,
it in like
what an
weeks
unreal
ahead.
marketing campaign success in the 70s from KFC. That's kind of like Chinese food on Christmas for the Jewish community in America.
Did you not hear what I just said?
I missed it. No.
Oh no, I had said it's like calling in Chinese food for New Year's Eve. Because you
There
know
you
how
go.
New Year's Eve is like hit to get Chinese food.
Yes.
And you call it in a couple weeks
Yeah,
at a time.
similar,
'cause
yeah.
It's so busy.
I feel like that's also very common for Jewish people on Christmas that don't celebrate Christmas. They get Chinese food. At least some of the people I knew did. Let's
punishes
check
its
this one out.
politicians by putting them in a cage in a river. In the small city of Trento in Italy, a bizarre tradition takes place every year in June called the Tonka. They put people into a cage and dunk them in the river by way of punishment. Very often this means that a politician is among those taking a dip in the water.
I
Because
love
when
this.
you're looking for the person in
We
the city
dump
who screwed up the
Can we?
Our
Can we
politicians in
sort of say?
water?
Can we dump our politicians in a
and
cage
leave
in the
them
water?
and
But
then start over and get all new ones.
that's what I'm saying.
All new ones. They all suck.
That's about the most political you've ever been. I love
Yeah,
it.
because it's not taking any sides. They all just suck.
just politicians in general mostly blow. Self-serving assholes. I'm sure there's some good ones in the mix, but most of them we could just dump in the river and leave them, I think.
up the most, it's usually going to be a politician. However, when it's done these days for the festival, the people found guilty get to be raised back out of the water again
All right.
while they're still alive,
That's too bad.
instead of staying there until the locals are sure they're dead and want their cage back. Should more countries adopt this tradition?
Yes.
Absolutely. I imagine this tradition had its roots at a time where they would literally just dunk them and kill them. Like
Oh, yeah,
back in the
sure.
days when like public executions, the town square, like people would like get their popcorn and go out and watch people get
Salem witch
beheaded.
trial style.
Can you imagine that, living in a time where it was just cool to just like chop people's head off by a guillotine at the town square and everyone's just around watching, throwing cabbage and tomatoes at them. Fucking nuts, dude. I watch too many fantasy shows.
Mysterious tradition that is pure horror fuel.
Okay.
One tradition can be a bit more unusual than the other. On a small island named Ameland in the Netherlands, each year on the 5th of December the island is covered in a veil of darkness.
What?
On this day, the locals celebrate the tradition of Santa Claus. When the clock strikes 5 o'clock, the lights in the streets get turned off and women and children have to stay indoors. The men of the island wear scary masks and costumes and walk the streets with long sticks and blowhorns.
Sounds awesome.
Tourists are advised to stay away, and when women are spotted on the street, they risk getting hit with the sticks by the men.
Sounds like The Purge. Like, is this where
Right?
they
It does. It sounds like a
get
horror
the idea
movie.
for The Purge? I imagine wherever this is in the Netherlands, that time of year, you know how like some places up there, it's like dark for 18 hours a day, certain times a year. And so the sun probably goes down super early and then they start this festival.
Because this tradition is veiled in secrecy, the exact origin is
clearly not
probably
that
only
secret.
known to the islanders themselves. Tourists are not welcome, and camera crews will be intimidated and forbidden to visit the island during this event.
Except for this one who got
What
a
is this
billion
for
high quality
tradition?
photos.
What do you think about it? However, one thing is certain. This is...
What?
What?
How do you end a TikTok like that? I don't care. Anyways, that's maybe my favorite tradition so far.
For real?
Cool little scary horror masks running around town beating people with sticks.
We should make our own tradition.
I'm gonna make a tradition right now, ending this video. I've had enough. Thank you guys for watching on our tour around the world and some peculiar traditions. We'll see you in the next video. Appreciate you. Deuces.